I thought about trying to get back into film school or to get to film school again, but that just didn't seem like the right choice. Another friend called for, I called another friend for advice, and Dwayne said, and Dwayne had gone to film school, Dwayne said to me, he was the one also that had led me into seeing film as an art form, as film language. And he said, Steph, you don't need to go to film school. You have everything you need to be a producer, to make a film. You just find an idea that grabs you and make your film. And what you don't know how to do, you can hire someone to do it. I took my friend's encouragement and advice to heart and began researching an idea while I was still at the Bulletin. With boldness, I called Hawaii Public Television, and I said, I have an idea for you for a documentary. Can I come and talk with you? Being a Honolulu Star-Bulletin reporter helped me get in that door. But it was not the idea, but it was the idea that hooked them and fully launched me into my passion. With a script in hand, I left the Star-Bulletin in 1989, took every bit of savings I had, and began to make my passion happen. Because people at the Hawaii Public Television station loved the story I wanted to tell, they threw their support behind me for 3.5 years, even though I had never made a film. Those 3.5 years were magical, but not in the way that you would think. The idea was magical, wonderful, full of inspiration and genius. But the work would transform me, would change me, that kind of magic. The work was very hard, grounded in the realities of film, grounded in the realities of filmmaking, learning the craft, finding the money, some $500,000, which took 2.5 years of constant calling and knocking. A legal battle over the last $200,000 brought the project down for 3 months and left me depressed. There were difficult challenges every step of the way, and every which way, unimaginable obstacles, such that I now define filmmaking as overcoming one obstacle after another. At one point, I was ready to give up. My feet felt like they were slogging, and not dancing, but slogging through dense mud in the middle of a raging river. I had to make a choice. I could give up and go back to the safety of the riverbank and end this, or I could press on and see what was on the other side of finishing my film. I remember that in that moment of making my decision to go on, it was as if my little star inside shone brightly and smiled and cheered me on, saying, go on, find out what is waiting for you. And so I pressed on, and in 1992, I finished my first documentary film, Simple Courage, a portrait for the age of AIDS. In making Simple Courage, I wanted to look back at Hawaii's story of the tragic leprosy epidemic that began in 1865. Had we learned anything from how we treated people with Hansen's disease or leprosy in the last 100 years? At that time in 1988, the AIDS epidemic was at its height of hysteria and fear. It was an epidemic that was being called the modern-day leprosy. And the people with AIDS were being labeled modern-day lepers. As we face this age of AIDS, I wanted to ask, were we going to repeat history? With the conviction that the story of the banishment of some 8,000 people to Molokai, most of them Native Hawaiians, could speak to us today, and that the courageous intervention of Father Damien would inspire us, my dedicated team and I crafted a brilliant film. Simple Courage went on to show across the nation on PBS and won an Emmy Award in 1993. After 15 years, Simple Courage is still being shown today on World AIDS Day, December 1st. educating many about stigma and hysteria, and inspiring modern-day Damians to care with the compassionate spirit of Father Damien. In those 5 years that I gave to making and promoting Simple Courage, I had no romance, no dates. I was wedded to my work, and my wildest escapades were with it. I spent all of my savings to make Simple Courage and went into credit card debt, which, by the way, took me 10 years to pay off. In serving this endless task, this demanding project, it took every talent, every skill, and everything in me to finish. You might ask, besides an Emmy, what did you really gain? Nothing, I say. Nothing but the joy of serving my passion. Nothing but the satisfaction of losing my shirt and finding my soul. Like Emerson said, God will not have his work manifest by cowards. So by taking that little flame and bravely hitching it to a star that rose high above me, I brought forth the light of a brilliant work, a God work called Simple Courage. In closing, I think back 20 years, 9 documentaries later, I think back to that overweight, lonely, and lost child with eczema who went to church one day and kneeled and cried. I could see no hope. I could see only darkness. That day, in the quiet of my sad, sad heart, I cried out to God, "Why did you make me this way?" And my heart heard, because I am making you beautiful on the inside. Some of you are carrying out there a dimmed flame or dim flames like I once did. You have a dream that wants to rise above to the stars, to the heavens. You have dreams that want to live. You have legs that want to dance like Flashspiegel. Let me speak to your hearts and into the lives that you're living. Let me speak this blessing. May you be a light that shines brighter than necessary, and a shooting star that shoots farther than it must. With courage and boldness, may you be led, as I was led, to the beauty inside, so that you too can be certain to live your life as a flash dance. Thank you.